What is the cost of the cloud, really? I mean, everywhere we go, we hear the same words. AI, artificial intelligence. Seems like our whole world's made out of it these days. The future, innovation, progress, it's called a few different things. But very few people are actually asking the most important question of all. What is this future actually going to cost us? Better yet, what does it look like, and what is it looking like now? I think what most fail to understand is that AI does not simply just exist in a cloud, a magical cloud that's invisible, floating above us, just waiting to catch and receive information we throw at it. My friends, the cloud, it's physical, and it requires massive amounts of land. It requires an enormous infrastructure, hence infrastructures laid strategically throughout our land masses. It requires massive electrical systems and grid use, massive cooling systems, massive natural gas expansions, substations, and most especially and most importantly, and the most dire of them all, our water sources. Now listen closely, because this is where our conversation becomes very real for communities like ours. Because unlike electricity, water, well, it's not optional. It's dire. Human beings can survive weeks without food. We know this. We hear stories of it. But only a matter of days without water, and usually up to 3. This was recently brought to my attention when discussing the new AI data centers and their placements from a local resident here, and I appreciate it for him actually taking the time to emphasize how truly important and dire it actually is, which then provoked me to realize that this needed to be addressed and expressed in the most urgent way and manner, especially because right now our future is looking a little bit shaky and actually not promised at all. We're truly only just days away from disaster without access to clean water. Yet across America, AI-driven data centers are now being constructed at historical levels, and many requiring millions of gallons of water every single day just to keep their systems cool. According to multiple environmental and research organizations, some of these large facilities may consume as much as 5 million gallons of water per day. So, while people still argue online about technology and its convenience and faster apps, blah, 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 very few are talking about where the water actually comes from. Because it does not magically appear, by the way. And in many areas, it comes directly from the ground, beneath our feet, just like mine does. Water is something that our farmers, their crops, and our animals depend on. But the bigger picture is, water is necessary for us all just to survive. I don't think people understand what we're up against. What we're up against is something that's life-threatening, something absolutely necessary, and something that's at stake. And here along the Gulf Coast regions of Texas, groundwater depletion is not some imaginary concern. It's very real, and it's already happening. Scientists in groundwater districts have spent years and years warning about excessive groundwater withdrawal and the consequences that are tied to it. And one of these consequences is land subsidence, meaning that the ground literally, quite literally, begins to sink beneath you. Not metaphorically, but physically, my friends. The earth compacts beneath us as water is removed faster than nature can actually replenish it with. Some areas around Greater Houston have already experienced a dramatic subsidence over the past decade. And this is no joke. And in areas like Katy and Fulshire, monitoring has shown like portions of the land sinking to alarming rates. So keep in mind, Fulshire's just right down the road from us here in Texas. And it's nearly up to an inch per year in some locations, actually more than none. An inch per year, let that sit with you. That may not sound like much, but until you realize what that becomes over time, well, road damage, which is the least of our concerns, foundation damage, that's a pretty significant portion of damage, drainage issues, flood risks, infrastructure instability, and I could go on and on. And scientists warn that portions of the aquifer systems can become permanently compacted, meaning that their ability to store water in the future may never fully recover because it's permanent. Not to mention, where did your water come from again, and what happens whenever it doesn't replenish? Yeah, you do the math. Because once certain underground layers collapse under pressure, you do not simply refill them later. That storage capacity can be lost actually forever. And this is where many communities begin asking the most difficult questions, and they should be. Questions like, how much water will actually be used? Where will it come from? How will wastewater be handled? What are the chemicals that are involved in these cooling systems? What happens during drought conditions? What long-term studies have actually been conducted, if any? And perhaps most importantly, why do so many communities feel like these conversations are happening around them instead of with them? Like, I don't know, Austin County, for instance, just one out of, dozens and dozens. Because across the country, residents near expanding data infrastructures have already begun, reporting concerns involving water pressure, groundwater strain, environmental impact, and overall, lack of transparency. Some communities, they claim that they were given little to no information until construction was already underway. And I can tell you right here and right now, that's exactly what happened in our community. And sadly, that discovery came from myself, accidentally filming it while trying to film an oncoming storm. And that's no way for anyone to find out these bits and pieces of most important information that quite literally affects their lives and therefore the health of. So I think my biggest problem in all of this is where and when in this world did all of our Christian morals and our ethical mannerisms go straight out the window? When did we stop caring about each other? So much so that mum's the word, all while simply having no issues signing a non-disclosure and knowing that it directly impacts those in our community, those that we love and hold close. On any level, I don't think I would be able to sleep at night. Actually, I know I wouldn't. I won't shut up on any level, and not for any amount of money. It's not worth it. You have God to answer to in the end. I am grateful, though, that people are beginning to notice patterns. They're seeing substations that are already existing, or the new ones. They're seeing BESS, B-E-S-S, the battery energy storage systems that are being set into place, and in a rural community, some still lacking the ability or the inquisition to say, hey, what would a small town this size need some large infrastructure of that size for? Why would that ever be necessary? That looks like it should be placed in the city, right? But nope, not the case. We see natural gas infrastructure expansion, heavy industrial development in rural areas are a dead giveaway, and these massive electrical corridors that are becoming of them. And suddenly, communities that once felt quiet and untouched, where you could still touch the stars, but not the technology, well, it begins to transform into industrial support zones for a technological future where many residents never knowingly agreed to become part of it. And I know I certainly didn't. And more than likely, if you're watching this, none of you did as well. In fact, you weren't even asked. But to be clear, this documentary, it's not about anti-technology. It is not anti-progress. It is not anti-innovation. The issue is always, and has always been, accountability, transparency, long-term environmental responsibility. And by the way, we have to have water to live and survive. We will not survive without it. When you look around and you see nothing but droughts taking place, everywhere in every which location you look, and not just Texas, my friends, worldwide, the Euphrates River. I mean, everywhere you look. Look at Lake Mead, look at Colorado, look at all of these water sources depleting. They're going away. And how fast and how quickly are these infrastructures and these data centers going up? Faster than you can blink your eye. And don't tell me you didn't just almost notice overnight after the word was put out. Don't tell me that you haven't seen city after city after city now posting online saying, oh my gosh, one's happening here as well. Oh my goodness, one's taking place here as well. It's like spreading like fire. They are coming up overnight everywhere, and soon we'll be saturated with them. You have to really ask yourself, is it really necessary? What's the rush when we're in the middle of a drought? What's really going on? I think that's the biggest question of all that all of you should be really pondering at this point. What's actually going on, and why is this hush-hush? And for many who have families out there, you should be asking yourselves this: what are your children going to inherit? What's going to be actually left for them? Just think, those that are being born into this world now, they will never ever know what the world was like before AI, before cell phones, before technology in general. Once contamination occurs, we cannot simply undo those consequences with a software update. And this is why local voices matter. Yours, mine, everyone's matter. Every day, all day, be talking about it, spreading the awareness. This is why public meetings matter. This is why transparency matters, and I will say that again. What about our quality of life? What about these strange emerging illnesses that you all know are there? They're present, they're real, where they were never there before, and they're happening now. And I'm one of those who suffer from them. And heavy metal toxicities, well, you thought it was bad before, it's only going to get worse. You just wait and see. But please don't. Please don't. Speak up. Speak out. We need you. We're counting on you. They are necessary. And perhaps the most dangerous thing of all is a society taught not to ask questions anymore, to raise your hand and don't speak unless spoken to, sit in your desk and don't get out unless told to. Like lab rats, come to the ring of the bell, go to the ring of the bell, and hand it down from generation to generation. And no, I'm not saying go out and be disobedient and disrespectful and don't obey the laws. Laws are necessary. We know this. But when are we going to start being treated as human? When are we going to stop being the worker ants, the ones that literally sit on the sidelines but pay the price for it? It's not fair, and it needs to stop, and it will only stop when we say it stops, because you know already. Thus far, we've just sat down and we've taken it. But what's going to happen when you're hit with no water? You know what's going to happen. It's time to stand up. It's time to take back your lives, your rights. The one that someone else has been puppeteering along for you this whole time. They never deserved to have that right. I don't know what made us feel like it was okay for that. It's time to stand, my friends. Our lives literally depend on it.
Where the cold wind hums. Granddaddy said, child, don't trust what comes. Sky ain't sky like it used to be. Got wires in the wind where the Lord said